All right, today I want to share some thoughts that I have from reading in Intentional Living by John Maxwell. Let me change the view here. And if you don't have this book, I would get this book, put it on your reading list. And I'm on page 79, and John Maxwell is talking about why your why is important. And, I've lived in this find your big why culture for the last 20 plus years. It's a big part of who I am. And there's been times in my life where I was crystal clear on this, and then there were other times where I wasn't so clear. And as I'm reading this morning, it's causing me to self-reflect and start asking myself questions about all of you, which is what I typically do when I'm studying and in the morning getting ready for my day, is how can I bring impact to agents who I have the opportunity to train and coach every day. And I just want to share some thoughts from what John Maxwell has to say in this book. And then I want to share my experience on this subject. And I'm going to close with a huge aha that I had about my life over the last 3 years, and where why played a big part in the last 3 years and where it plays a huge part going forward. All right. Please take notes. All right. If you want to make a difference and live a life of significance, you must tap into your why. So I'll start with easier said than done. I've been training and coaching real estate agents for years. And one of the most common things I hear is, John, I just can't find my big why. I don't really have one. And by the way, it's okay. And I've shared this in the past. I'm going to change my mind just a little bit. It's okay. However, if you can just keep searching your soul until you find that why, that thing that drives you, it has so much power and it's so important. And not having that why is going to cause you to be less and do less than you're capable of. It's important. Your why is the life's blood of intentional living. If you know your why and focus on going there with fierce determination, I like those words. Fierce determination. Are you working every day with fierce determination? If I'm you, I'm writing this down in a question to myself. Am I working every day with fierce determination? Now, if the answer is no, don't stress. Just find what it would take in order for you to work with fierce determination. You can make sense of everything on your journey because you see it through the lens of your why. So as I'm looking at my life right now, and there's parts that are going well and other parts that aren't, and that's okay. It's part of the journey. But when I look at it through the focus of my why, problems disappear. Solutions appear. Once you find your why, you can find your way. So what's the difference between your why and your way? Well, your why is a purpose and the way is the path to the purpose. Please write that down. Your why is the purpose, and the way is the path to that purpose. When you start your day with your why, you will find yourself continually doing the things that inspire you. Again, if I'm you, I'm writing a question down and I'm asking, do the things I do every day inspire me? And if the answer is no, then ask yourself why. And the answer to that question might be because you're not clear on why you want to get to the destination you want to get, or why you want to become the person you want to become. When you answer those questions, then you will find yourself working every day doing things that inspire you. We were made to have meaning. God put every single one of you here to have meaning. Without purpose, life is meaningless. Now, we're going to circle back to this because this is where I really had a breakthrough this morning, because I found myself at a point in my life where it didn't have meaning. And I can tell you, living that, it was exhausting, it was frustrating, it was depressing, it was discouraging, it was sucking the energy out of my life. A meaningless life is a life without hope or significance. So, personal perspective. In 2002, I began my real estate career, and I found myself in a position where I needed to replace the income that I had lost because I was fired by this. Keymark Fundraising was the name of the company I was working for. They were based out of Dayton, Ohio, and I was fired because the owners of the company and I had a disagreement in the path of the company. And whenever you're in a fight with ownership is going to win. So I lost, and I found myself in a position where I needed to immediately replace that income. And it was good money. And that money was supporting my family. I had a son who was 5 years old. I had a daughter who was 6 months old. I had bills to pay. And my why was to find a way to replace that income. It was powerful. It created meaning for me. Let me just read to you what I wrote in my journal this morning as I'm thinking about this. My why was powerful, and it was meaningful to me personally. Boy, write that down. Is my why meaningful? Does it have purpose for me? Or do I have a why that's important to someone else? In order for your why to have power, it's got to be about you. My why was powerful, and it was meaningful to me personally. Once I was clear on my why, the way had purpose, and every day had meaning. The way was what I teach you guys every single day. Talk to 20 people, schedule appointments, go on appointments, build relationships, follow up forever, look for opportunity, close for appointments, take seller listings, provide raving fan customer service, get properties under contract, take properties to closing. And it was simple, but it also had power because the why was powerful. Now, by 2006, 7, 8, we found ourselves in a position personally where we were no longer in that situation. We're selling lots of homes, we're making lots of money, and life is good. And then I made a mistake. My new why became to become the #1 real estate team in our market. Now, that's about ego, and it will work for a while, but it's not sustainable. And I found myself feeling a lack of purpose. My day didn't have meaning. It wasn't significant. It wasn't powerful. And it led to me being in a situation where I felt like I was lost. And it was simply because I wasn't centered, I wasn't focused on a why that mattered, on a why that had meaning, and not just for me, but for other people as well. And in 2015, I became team leader for Keller Williams Coral Springs. And at the same time, I found myself in adversity. My family was in adversity. We were in a deep hole financially. And my why was to find a way to dig out of this hole. It had purpose. It was powerful. It was meaningful to me. Now, the way forward was to build that Coral Springs Keller Williams office and to build it quickly. And over the next 4 years, we grew the office from 62 agents to more than 300 agents. We increased profits by more than 400%. And as a result, financially, we had dug ourselves out of that hole that we were in. And then in 2020, I probably made the biggest mistake of my life. And it not only impacted me, but it impacted other agents as well. So part of this is an apology. In 2020, the why became to build the #1 market center in the company. Now, that's exciting. However, it's a why that is not meaningful to me. It's not meaningful to the agents that are in front of me. I'm standing in these team meetings and I'm talking to real estate agents and I'm sharing with them this vision. We're going to become the #1 Keller Williams Market Center in the country. And I'm expecting them to buy into my vision that had meaning to me, or at least I thought it did. And I wanted it to have meaning for them. All right, so not only did it not have meaning for them because it didn't impact them personally, it also didn't me. I realized after a couple of years, I'm working in order to create for somebody else's why, not mine, for the owners, for ownership, for Keller Williams Realty International. Everything I was doing was building a business for someone else. And then I started looking for my why again. And I found my why, and the why was to create generational wealth for my family. And I started looking for the best way to do that. And over the past 4 months, I've been getting more and more clear on this. And like a light bulb, it finally hit. My why is to create generational wealth for my family. What does that look like? Well, it looks like I'm building wealth in high 6-figure, 7-figure incomes that will provide for my family for the rest of my life. And then it will survive me and provide for Monica. And then it'll go on to provide for my kids. And this why has power and it has lasting power. And here's a really cool part about it. There isn't a finish line. I can't get to a point where the why changes so that I can go down the wrong path. If I stay focused on this why, then I'll never stop. And I will work every single day with meaning, with power, with urgency, with significance, because I'm working for a worthy cause. And I started thinking about you guys. And I thought, do all of the real estate agents that I train and coach every single day have a clear vision of why they're doing this? When they reach their goals, what impact is it going to have on their life? Not somebody else's, but your life. What is your powerful why that will cause you to wake up every single day and work with purpose, with intention, with significance? And I'm going to encourage you, if you don't know the answer to that question, get out your journal and start writing. Get out your journal and start writing. You will find the answer. It exists in you. You know, the way I believe, and you know, I'm super clear on my faith, right? And at the same time, I realize my faith is mine and it's not everybody else's, and that's cool. But as I'm doing this exercise, I can imagine that, you know, God is speaking to me and he's telling me, dude, it was there all the time. You just didn't see it. If you read the book, The Noticer by Andy Andrews, he talks about this guy, Jones. It's not Mr. Jones, it's just Jones. And if you haven't read the book, I don't want to spoil it for you, but Jones is God. In Andy's world, he's God. He's the Holy Spirit. He's Jesus. He's whatever spiritual beliefs you have, he's that person. And one of the things that Jones says is, I'm always here. I'm always around. Even when you don't see me, I'm there. All you have to do is call out for me and I'll be there. If you're not hearing his voice, it's because you're not paying attention. All right. Take yourself off mute and talk to me.
Good morning, John.
Talk to me,
So
Kay.
good.
Thank you.
It's so good. I'll share with the group my why, and I'm struggling because it's for my husband, but it does feel strong enough, so maybe it's okay. But my why is to retire my husband from law enforcement. But the funny thing is, he doesn't want to be retired from law enforcement. So I've kind of changed that recently to give my husband the opportunity to retire from law enforcement, because you guys know how difficult that can be in today's world. So I don't know. I kind of struggled with that and have had lots of conversations with my husband on what that looks like, you know?
Yeah, Corey, I think that's awesome. A couple other questions that I would encourage you to ask, and maybe you and your husband get together and answer these questions is, what would that do for you and your family? What would your life look like when your husband is retired? What does life look like for you and your family when you no longer need his income? Now, he can choose to keep working if he wants, but you are earning enough money so that he doesn't have to work if he doesn't want to. What are you doing that you're currently not doing? Where are you going that you're currently not going? Who are you helping that you're currently not helping? Just keep digging and ask more questions, because the more questions you ask, the better answers you're going to get, and the more powerful this is going to be.
That's good. That's awesome.
You know, Tara Carter wrote in the chat, and I don't know, Tara, if you're somewhere where you could take yourself off mute and talk to me, but I think you have so much to offer and so many people can learn from you. And this is someone who I've known for 7 years. I think I met Tara in my first year as team leader for Keller Williams. And the Tara Carter I know today is not the Tara Carter I knew 7 years ago. And she writes in the chat, my why is so big, it makes me cry to think about it or say it out loud. Took me months to figure it out. And it's okay if your why changes too. It means you're growing. I agree. Yeah, 100%. Your why is going to change. Mine has. Just make sure that when you're changing your why, you're changing your why to the right why. Don't make the mistake I made and chase the wrong why.
Well, if you think about it, John, your why changed, it evolved, right? Because you grew. So I think that I loved what you just asked, Corey, because I went to go write the same thing in the chat. And I think that, when people stand up and they're like, oh, my why is my kids. I'm like, okay, but great, but why? Like, what about your kids? Oh, so my kids have a good life. Okay, but why? Like, what does a good life look like for your kids? Oh, so they go to college. Okay, but why? What is that going to do for them? What college do they want to go to? How much does that college cost? What do they want to do? Like, what is that going to do for them and their lives? And what is that going to ultimately do for you? It's like to dig down deeper, to look at the bigger picture in order to really, you can't just say it's just my kids or it's just this. No, it's not. Like, go 10 deep, not even 3 deep. It's 10 deep. And that takes time and exercises and mindset and calls, or like listening to you, because I'll always listen to you for whatever you say. You're like Jones to me sometimes. And I was really happy. But side note, if anybody's not read that book, please listen to John, because it took me way too long to finally listen to John and be like, all right, John, I'm going to read The Noticer and The Traveler's Gift. I'm finally listening. And it's the most amazing thing ever. And I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Hey guys, by the way, Tara Carter is a coach. You can probably tell that by the way she's talking, right? And if I'm any of you, she's somebody that I want to reach out to, speak to, and learn from. And Tara, if you're open to that possibility, then I'd love you just to put your email address in the chat, because I think you have so much to offer to so many people. And I would love for a few of these agents to reach out to you and learn what you have to teach them.
Absolutely. So I'm going to put my number in there too. Text is always best. Also, I'm going to insert a little plug because you love me. I have 7 levels of communication, 6-week course coming up with me personally via Zoom starting March 14th. And the link is on my Instagram handler under the link tree.
There you go. Yeah. And everyone, Tara is an instructor for Michael Mayer. Tara, help me.
Michael Mayer wrote the book 7 Levels
Yes.
of Communication,
Yes.
which he was America's #1 most referred agent.
There you
And
go.
it's basically how to take your relationships to referrals. So we run a very high profit with a very low expense business. And it's 100% basically based on referrals. And so I love that. I like to save money and make a lot more money
There you
and build
go.
relationships. So that's what the book teaches us.
There you go. Tara is also an instructor, a guest speaker for Jeff Glover and Glover U. For all of you who follow Jeff Glover and Glover U, she's also a part of that organization. So, it helps to surround yourself with great people. And Tara is somebody who will always be a part of my life. All right. Thank you for joining the Tara Carter call. I appreciate all of you. Tara, thank you so much. You bring so much value, and I'm always grateful when you are part of our daily coaching calls. Guys, I hope you got value today. I hope you took notes. I hope you spend some time to go deep inside your subconscious and really dig for why are you doing this? There's got to be more to it than waking up every day and just selling real estate. And one more thing. It's okay to be in real estate to create additional income. Not everybody has to strive for $100 million in production. Don't hear me saying that. That's not the point of today's conversation. Maybe your why absolutely has nothing to do with real estate. I'm totally cool with that. I'm here to train and coach you on how to live better lives, not just sell more real estate. All right, everybody, make it a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. See you soon.
See you, girl. Nice seeing you, Lonnie. Thanks for being here.
Oops, went off.